Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah, Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah. Alhamdulillah wa salam Allah wa rasulullah. Welcome to another session of Sunnahfollowers Hadith class. Yesterday, we completed the book that was compiled by Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Atli entitled 100 Advices for the Muslims. So what we're going to do is continue with the other book that we're studying from, which are 200 Hadiths for Muslim women. 200 hadiths for Muslim women. So from now on, we will be doing the heart softener hadiths from Bukhari and also continuing on with the 200 hadiths for Muslim women. And with that said, let's look at the hadith as up for discussion today. And wait a minute, where's my source? Okay, and my hadith, hold on. And the source for this hadith is Sahih Bukhari. And it's narrated by Aisha, who was the wife of the Prophet. She said the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to visit her at the city of Sari while she was crying. She was crying because she was afraid that she would not be able to make Hajj. And the reason why she was felt that way was because her menses had come. So he asked her, "What's wrong? Did you get your period?" She said, "Yes." He said, "This is something that Allah has decreed for all women. So perform the ceremonies of the Hajj just as anyone else would do. But do not perform the tawaf around the Kaaba until after your menses has stopped." And then the Prophet slaughtered some cows as sacrifices on behalf of his wives. Now, this is, for a lot of Muslims don't know that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam only made Hajj one time in his life. One time. And that was right before and afterwards is when he died. Okay. And so there's a lot of women today that when they go to make Hajj, they take pills and things like this to try to stop their period. Why? We don't know. This is ignorance. You know, your menses is something, again, it's another thing that you can't control. The things that we can change, the things that we can control, we fail to do that. But the things that we cannot change and not control, this is what Shaitan tries to tempt us to do. And so a lot of these women take these pills and it doesn't stop their period. Instead, it makes them bleed even worse. You know, that's why we need to stop tampering around with things that we can't control. You know, women are women. We get our menses. If you make Hajj, you can still have a menses. You just wait until your period ends and do the tawaf. I remember when I made Hajj, I had my menses too. And most of the women in the group with me, we all had our menses. And what we did was we did all the stuff except the tawaf. We would waited until, you know, our menses was over, and then we completed that. And then we left with the group. You know, Islam is not hard. We make it hard for ourselves by trying to impose conditions and impose extra things into the religion that are not necessary. And so many women with those pills end up wishing they had never taken them because they start bleeding and it just doesn't stop. So what do you sisters think of this hadith here? Anyone?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
What I take from this hadith is, you know, us women nowadays, we need to let men and people to stop making us feel bad about our periods. You know, this is a natural thing Allah has ordained for us, and we need to just accept it. And just like you said, there are people who take pills to stop their period. And like these pills are not even like 99% effective, you know? And there are other obligations us women can do. It's just not prayer, you know? There's like, we can make dua, we can remember Allah by saying Allahu Akbar and such. And just like I said, stop letting men make you feel lesser than you are.
Exactly. And this is the problem. Like I said, in another class, why do we have menses? Allah did not make a mistake when he created women. Women are just as equal as men are in the plight towards paradise. But Allah knows that of the two sexes or the two genders, we are the weaker of the two. So your period is not a curse. It is a blessing. Allah knows that a woman needs a break. So Allah gives us a break away from our obligations once a month so we can rest and revive ourselves. And this came from the Prophet. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the menses is a blessing in disguise for the woman. Allah allows the women to take a break away from their obligations once a month to revive and regenerate and themselves. So we shouldn't feel bad about the things that we can't control or change. And we need to stop second guessing Allah and thinking that Allah made a mistake or Allah messed up or was defective when he created us. Go ahead, Sister Aisha.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
For everything you said is right, because Allah already perfect, like you said, our religion for us, and people already been through this kind of stuff already. And when you think about it, Allah already have like what we can do, instead of people, being sad about having their menses whenever they're worshiping Allah. They need to know that there is other ways you can worship Allah, especially us women, go increase your charity, because that's one of the things us women should be doing because of our mouth. And also go feed others. You can remember Allah in different ways. You don't have to only be on your menses. And don't let people tell you won't get reward on your menses. Yes, you will. It's a natural thing Allah made for us, and like you said, and we can take a break from it.
Exactly. And there's even some people that tell women that they can't make dua on their menses. Yes, you can. The only thing you can't do is have relations, and you can't pray or fast. Okay, but it's a natural phenomena that Allah put women through. Go ahead, Sister Sabrina.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
I would just like to say that, as you know, Allah didn't make mistakes. Allah don't make mistakes. He never have. And when he created the human body, specifically, I'm talking about the woman, he knew, because of the way he created us, that we would have a cycle. We would have that time in our life when we needed to stop and give our bodies a break, a time, or even if it's short, to heal inwardly. And it just didn't happen during Ramadan. You know how in Ramadan, the sisters sometimes have to stop, and go because of her mens. That's not a curse, that's a blessing. And the same thing with Hajj. The woman can take a break and then, like Sister Layla said, then restart after that's over. That's a blessing for us and an act of mercy from Allah. And that's how we should see it.
Exactly. And we need to learn to accept the concessions of Allah, learn to accept the blessings and bounties and mercies of Allah, and stop allowing other people to try to make us believe that Allah was defective when he was not. So again, let's look at this hadith. Walaikum salam.
I would like to say something to these uneducated men. I hear them telling their wives, oh, I can't touch you, or you can't be near me. That's not true, because my husband, when my missus is on, my husband touched me. I lay beside him. We just don't have intercourse, because you're not supposed to touch your wife while she's on her missus. That's all I want to say.
Exactly. You know, you can enjoy your wives, you can kiss them, touch them, you know, hug them and all that. A woman does not invalidate or a man's a voodoo or make him impure. None of that. As Aisha herself said, we're not dogs. We're not in a category of an animal. We're human beings, you know. So again, you know, don't fall for the stereotypes. Don't fall for the myths that people create against women. That's one of the signs of the last hour. Everything will revert back to how it used to be before Islam. Women didn't have rights before Islam. Women were looked at as not even being human. And we're slowly being stripped of the rights that Allah has given us. And we're slowly going back to that. You have to not allow people to do that to you. And the way to stop that is by educating yourself about the deen. And again, as Aisha said, the Prophet told her that the menses is a decree from Allah that all women are subjected to have to endure. But just because you have your menses does not mean that you lose out on the reward and blessings of doing good deeds. You know, but when the menses come, you know, just perform all the other duties except the tawaf around the Kaaba. After your menses ends, then go perform the tawaf around the Kaaba and you're good to go. Again, great advice, you know, from our Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for us to incorporate into our lives. So we'll stop right here for today. And I'd like to thank everybody for joining and participating in this session of our Hadith class. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa